Assassin's Creed Unity is one of my most favourite Assassin's Creed games. It wasn't technically my first. Assassin's Creed 1 was technically my first, even though I just roamed around the world. But Assassin's Creed Unity was the first Assassin's Creed that really got me hooked on the franchise, and I have now practically bought every entry in the franchise to date. Minus Rogue. I still need to pick up Rogue. But anyway, I fell in love with Assassin's Creed Unity from the moment that I started playing it. I fell in love with the characters and the environment. The environment was beautiful, although people just say that with Assassin's Creed, especially the older titles, that the entire environment was just big buildings, little park over there. But to me, that didn't matter. It mattered how the world made you feel, and for me, it really made me feel like an assassin. But the world graphically looked absolutely phenomenal. I don't think anyone could deny that Assassin's Creed Unity looks absolutely beautiful, even to today's standards. And I'd even argue that Assassin's Creed Unity looks better than Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and perhaps even Origins. Odyssey does look beautiful though, I do have to admit. But Unity's environment, the amount of graphical power that they pushed for Assassin's Creed Unity, with the environments, with the crowds, like the 100 NPC crowds, it looked absolutely beautiful. Although, with the amount of graphical power behind Assassin's Creed Unity, it did hinder the gameplay experience. For example, on consoles, it was very hard for the actual game to maintain a consistent frame rate, and that's even fairly true with even the PC port of Assassin's Creed Unity. Both games find it very hard and struggle to maintain their frame rate, purely due to the fact that the NPCs and the environments and the graphical power just pushes your consoles and PCs to the limit, to the point where the frame rate has to be reduced just to keep the game running, which is absolutely insane if you think about it. And that just proves how fantastic Assassin's Creed Unity looks, and when the frame rate actually behaves itself and runs properly, Assassin's Creed Unity plays pretty well as well. As long as you don't stay in big environments full of crowds for too long, you'll be fine. And the parkour system was absolutely beautiful. I still think that Assassin's Creed Unity has the best parkour system in the Assassin's Creed franchise to date. From then, they've just gone downhill, and it's quite sad to see. I often find that if I just want to roam around in an Assassin's Creed game, I'll just tend to re-download Assassin's Creed Unity and parkour around Paris. The parkour is so fluid in Assassin's Creed Unity, but it is kind of on the rails compared to other entries in the franchise, due to the fact that the animations that play when doing parkour, they look so good, but they sort of angle you to specific parts of perhaps a wall or a ledge or something like that. So in some regards it's on the rails, but you have the fluidity and the look of absolutely amazing parkour. And I think that's one of the main things that everyone loves about Unity. The parkour system looks beautiful while you're doing parkour. That's enough said, it looks good. And with every game franchise, there are going to be ups and downs, and, well, at launch, Assassin's Creed Unity was definitely a down, but over time, it's become quite infamous for being quite underrated in the Assassin's Creed community, and by gamers as a whole who perhaps haven't even played Assassin's Creed Unity. Assassin's Creed Unity at launch, and even now, I'd consider it to be a broken beauty. Perhaps not as broken as it once was at launch, but every game has their bugs, and Assassin's Creed Unity is infamous for the amount of bugs that riddled the game at launch. And the sad thing is that Assassin's Creed Unity was the main reason why Assassin's Creed Syndicate flopped, and the reason why they went for the whole sort of reboot tone for Origins and Odyssey, as well as soon to be Valhalla. Assassin's Creed Unity, in a way, paved the way for the modern Assassin's Creed games, which I guess some people would be happy about because we got games like Assassin's Creed Origins, which is indefinitely my top 3 Assassin's Creed games of all time. On the story side of things, Assassin's Creed Unity is a revenge plot much like Assassin's Creed 2, and in that way, they have some parallels, which is nice, and I feel like Arno was meant to be portrayed as like an Ezio 2.0, but it didn't really come across too well because of some of the later developments in the story. Because as we know, after Arno becomes an assassin after being framed for a murder, he then later finds Elise, who is his sort of love interest for the game. And eventually Elise goes off and does her own thing, but Arno keeps following her. And in that regard, it sort of ruined the story a tad in the pacing side of things, and then eventually she's killed off. But in the DLC, The Dead Kings, which was given to us for free by Ubisoft for the missteps that Assassin's Creed Unity took, Arno became a very well-rounded assassin, and an assassin that I would like to see in another Assassin's Creed game. But you know what Ubisoft is like at this point, they don't want to do sequels for any assassins. In fact, the only real sequels we've got are for Ezio, and I guess you could kind of say Altair, with the parts of Altair being in Revelations. But apart from that, we have not had a direct sequel to any other assassin, which is a real shame if I'm honest. But although Assassin's Creed Unity's story was a bit naff at certain points, it doesn't mean that it was a good and fun campaign. I personally enjoyed Unity's story and gameplay the first time that I played Assassin's Creed Unity, and then later, when replaying Assassin's Creed Unity, I still thought it was really good. After playing some of the other games, I realised it's perhaps not as good, but that doesn't mean that the story is bad just because it's not as good or enjoyable as other games in the franchise. But by all means, that doesn't mean that Unity has a bad story whatsoever. I could recommend Assassin's Creed Unity to anyone who really wants to pick up an Assassin's Creed game. But you know, don't pick up Assassin's Creed Odyssey if you want an Assassin's Creed game, because it's not an Assassin's Creed game. Now, although I've gone over the story side of things, I've got to address the elephant in the room, which is the bugs that did plague Assassin's Creed Unity, and emphasis on the did affect Assassin's Creed Unity. Since then, most to all of the main bugs that hindered Assassin's Creed Unity are gone now. They are basically non-existent. When I played my initial run of Assassin's Creed Unity when it first released, I didn't come across any of these bugs, and I still haven't to this day. So perhaps they were just circumstantial, but in my experience, I didn't get a buggy one. Now, the main big issue that has been posted on every list about game glitches ever is the face glitches in Assassin's Creed Unity, where basically there was no faces. There was just eyeballs and mouths, and it did look very strange, but it was immersion breaking, and obviously it didn't help Unity's overall reception to the entire Assassin's Creed fandom. Now, I never experienced this glitch, and none of my friends have experienced this glitch, even day one when Assassin's Creed Unity launched, and even on that day they had a massive, I believe it was 40 gigabyte update patch to try and fix some bugs. But yeah, me and my friends never experienced these glitches, so perhaps our perception of the game would be overall better than someone who did experience these glitches. Although they weren't file saving corruptions, they were just visual glitches that really took the immersion out of people's gaming experiences with Assassin's Creed Unity. The only real glitch that I ever experienced with Assassin's Creed Unity was once I jumped off a building and I was sort of floating and falling at the same time. So the falling animation was playing, but I was staying static in the air. Now, this was a bit frustrating for me, but all I had to do was exit the game in the main menu and then load back in and everything was hunky-dory. Apart from that, nothing really broke my immersion. Assassin's Creed Unity for me was a solid gaming experience. Now, one of the main selling features of Assassin's Creed Unity was the multiplayer. Multiplayer in Assassin's Creed Unity was one of the best ideas that have ever been introduced into the Assassin's Creed franchise ever. Borderline ever. Playing Assassin's Creed with your friends has always been something that I have fantasized about and always hoped that they would bring into an Assassin's Creed game even after Unity. I was hoping to play with friends in Syndicate, but they never brought it in. Doing heists with friends or just missions in general was so fun. Verbal communication, you take out this guard, I'll take out this guard, you get the painting and we'll go. Heists and missions in Assassin's Creed Unity with friends was the bomb. It was such a fun experience to be able to play with friends in missions, but also in the open world environment. Jumping across rooftops with friends in a squad looked absolutely amazing. It felt absolutely amazing. There's just something about playing Assassin's Creed Unity with friends that just adds a whole new dynamic to Assassin's Creed. It's just so fun to go into crowded events and then take out enemies as a team, or even just parkouring around the city of Paris. It was all absolutely amazing, and even up until recently, I re-downloaded Assassin's Creed Unity to play missions with friends, and we had an absolute blast. It's such a shame that Assassin's Creed Unity has been branded as one of the main reasons why Assassin's Creed as a franchise has started to plummet down. It might all change with Valhalla, but at this point, that's the kind of status that Assassin's Creed Unity has been getting. But for the more hardcore Assassin's Creed fans, they think slightly differently. People who have played Assassin's Creed Unity at launch, who hated it in the Assassin's Creed community, now actually find an appreciation for it because it is an absolutely amazing game. Although it may have its flaws, every game has their flaws. It's just that Assassin's Creed Unity has been the poster boy for glitches. Now, most people credit either Assassin's Creed Syndicate as being the downfall for the community, or even Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And I haven't finished Odyssey yet, but from the way that it's going, it's not very fantastic. But that will be a topic for another video, so stay tuned for that one. Assassin's Creed Unity is one of the most influential Assassin's Creed games. In my opinion, it made the boldest moves and the boldest statements by adding multiplayer and other features that weren't necessarily expected for an Assassin's Creed game. Assassin's Creed Unity was very influential on the franchise, for good and for bad, but Assassin's Creed Unity really is an Assassin's Creed game like no other. Assassin's Creed Unity may have its problems, but it's also a beautiful game, and I would happily go back to playing it, and I hope that you would too. Being able to go through buildings, climb on rooftops, go through crowds of people, and be able to do a leap of faith off the Notre Dame is something that you won't find anywhere else, and I feel like that's what we need to appreciate in Assassin's Creed Unity. It took a bold step, but sadly for the community, they didn't appreciate that step, and it's been branded as a bad Assassin's Creed game since, and I hope that this video will change that for those who watch it. But thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, then subscribe and turn on that notification button so you don't miss another upload from me. So thank you and goodbye.